Robert.
Yo, what's shaking AC?
Oh, that's the highlight of the whole rant for some people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having
Anyway,
a pretty awesome hair day today, so that's kind of a great highlight.
oh, nice. Well, I went to the dentist today. Can you
Really?
tell?
Yep.
Your teeth are still better than mine, I think. You've got really white teeth. We talked about that before.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know like if you have do you whiten them?
No, I just have incredibly fantastic oral hygiene.
Right. I think I've asked you this before. It's ringing a bell. Okay, well, let's get into things. You know what I thought it'd be fun to talk about today
Okay.
is okay, so at AC Inc. we're constantly I shouldn't say constantly, but we one of the big things that we work with franchisors on is, through the field coaches, how do you get franchisees to get out into their community, to do community marketing? I often say that it is a big part of why you should use, like, why would you use the franchise model? Like, if people say they're thinking of franchising, and I say, well, how do you get leads in your business? And they say, oh, that's all done digitally. Then I'd say, well, then you probably don't need to franchise, because you don't need a local owner in the community building up relationships and connections and things like that. So it is like, a key success component of franchising. Yet I know a lot of franchisors, struggle with getting their franchisees to get out there and do it. That's not what I think we should rant about specifically, but because this conversation comes up a lot, we often hear people talk about grassroots marketing and guerrilla marketing. And I've learned to not use those terms, because you're like, well, that's not like what you're talking about. You're using the wrong term. And initially, I always just thought, like, you're just being annoying. And like, I'm like, do we have, because you're very specific. I'm like, is this one of those things we really have to spend time on? But I've kind of, now being aware of that, I've noticed people using those words in the wrong context. So I thought, I don't know, it might be kind of fun to clarify what the difference is between guerrilla marketing and grassroots marketing. Does this sound fun?
Yeah, it does. It sounds like we're not going to have enough time for this, but it does
Yeah.
sound fun.
Okay. Well, okay. But one thing I want to preface with is that both of them can fall under the banner of community marketing. Community marketing, let's define that.
Yeah, so actually, I would say rather than they fall under community marketing falls under them. So
Okay.
let me sort of break this down for you.
Well,
Different
wait.
types.
Wait.
Yep,
Are you going to define community marketing
sure.
first? I think we define, when I say that, why don't I define what I'm thinking, and then as you go, we'll
Go
see if
for it.
we're aligned.
Yeah, define it.
Okay. I would call community marketing anything you do that you are connecting with your community in a more organic way. It may cost some money, but it is not direct paid advertising. So it might be that you might spend money to go to an event or a conference to get your name out there and meet other business owners who might send people your way, or themselves become your customer or client. It might be lawn signs, wrapping a vehicle. It might be doing something, an outdoor event that draws a lot of attention. Those are things, in my mind. Community marketing is like anything you do is you're out there somehow connecting the community with what you do. It's usually, you know, low cost, basically, usually. So
Okay.
that's how I would.
I think
Okay,
I
fire
think that's
away.
I think that's fair enough, right? When I think of marketing, there's so many different marketing channels. There's community marketing, which is connecting with your community. There is digital marketing, there is print, there is radio. There's all these different marketing channels. Some of them are free, some of them are paid, whatever, right? You can have free digital marketing, you could have paid digital marketing, you could have free community marketing, you can have paid community marketing. But now each of these marketing channels have two variations of them, either the guerrilla format or the grassroots format. And the distinction between them is mainly based around the size of the audience. So with guerrilla marketing, it's usually a wide audience. You're doing something big that will hit a lot of people, oftentimes some sort of stunt or something with shock value. Whereas grassroots is very tightly focused on a specific niche. So you can do community marketing that is guerrilla, and you can also do community marketing that is grassroots. So for example, I know that there's I think it's a franchise system out there that when they're opening up in a new location, they'll put bicycles all over the city, just random bicycles. And everyone's like, what's this about? Right.
Orange Theory Fitness, I think that does that.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is community marketing because they're getting out into their local community, irrelevant whether it costs something or not, whether they need to buy the bikes or donate it or whatever, right? But it is sort of a stunt, right? It's tackling everyone that could conceivably walk past this bicycle in a downtown core. So this is a guerrilla community marketing. Now, a grassroots version of that would be, okay, who are the people that are our target market specifically? Maybe we're targeting 35-year-old males, okay, or 25-year-old males. And I'm going to do something in the community that targets them. So I'm going to go to a local place where, maybe 10 or 15 of this age demographic hangs out, and I'm going to give them all a bike to ride for the day. You know what I mean? Just, to keep kind of things on the same plane when we're talking about bicycles, right? So they're both community marketing. One is a wide audience, and the other one is a very focused niche.
There you go. I guess we're done. Okay. So yeah, I was gonna say, why are they important? I think that they both are important to connect in the community. If you really need both approaches. I think you need to, and well, when I say both, I think like with guerrilla marketing, I guess more what I mean is you need to do that bigger kind of that cast that wider net to get exposure for your brand. But then that targeted is also good. If you know exactly who you're targeting, there's usually a good conversion rate with that, because you know exactly who you're trying to target.
Sure. And I think oftentimes grassroots is very much associated with community marketing. And I totally get why, right? Because if you're doing something very niche focused and getting out to a very, very targeted, narrow demographic, it's oftentimes getting out into the community, right? So community marketing is very often synonymous with grassroots, but there is a distinction, because you could do community marketing that is also guerrilla based.
I feel like when you hear like grassroots, it sounds organic. So it just sounds like, well, that must mean things that you do that don't cost money. They're just organic. Like, so I think that may be where the misconception comes from. And it isn't necessarily a misconception in certain scenarios. Can you give any other examples of grassroots marketing?
Sure. For example, with Control V, right? We can put out an ad on Facebook, or we can go, into the community and set up a virtual reality station, and everyone that comes by can try it out. That's guerrilla, right? We just set it up in the middle of middle of a city or on a street. But if I want to get a specific type of person, let's say, 20% of our revenue comes from birthday parties, and usually the person that books the birthday party is the mom within a household. So my target is going to be mothers, specifically my mothers in this age group, because they probably have children that are 8 to 12 years old. And maybe I'm running a big birthday party promotion for August. And so I want people in August. So I've narrowed down my niche, and then I go out to those mothers. I seek them out, whether they're at their, annual mothers meeting, or I find them where they hang out for coffee or go to work out, and I target them specifically through this grassroots marketing, just getting feet on the pavement and going out and speaking with them.
Right. So there you go. There you have it. There is a difference, and it matters. So don't be an idiot. No, I'm kidding. But I think for anybody that, what I like about it is it makes you think about, like, also, what's your objective? Like, it's very important that when you do any marketing, understand, like, what is your objective here? Is it more like, are you trying to get exposure for your brand and maybe some customers or clients, or are you trying to, is it like you're going like spearfishing versus like putting out a big net, right? Like,
exactly.
What's your objective? And then because with both, you can still measure too. You can measure how it eventually impacted. It might be a little bit more vague, but there's still ways that you can measure by asking people like how they heard about you or things like that. So
yeah, and that example was grassroots marketing through community involvement. I could do that through digital advertising, right? And just target those things through Facebook, right?
Right. Okay. Well, I think we got our answer. I guess we can wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Go be awesome.